So I want to take this moment to talk about controversy, and the reason why I want to talk about that, and I have addressed it in previous videos before, just FYI, it's something that we should expect, and not that we should, but that it's kind of inevitable. We're talking about something that is touchy, and it's politics. You're talking, okay, well, maybe it goes to the lens of religion sometimes, and maybe it goes to the lens of whatever, but some things, anything could be touchy to anyone. Anyone can take offense to anything, but I'm well aware that certain subjects are more controversial than others. I try to steer away from that. I want to try to steer away from that. So if you see any controversy or you feel offended in any way, I never make that in my intention. My intention is to make you think and to make you question. That's it. So I'm well aware that some people may call me crazy or who knows what, but I'm simply human. And, humans not only make mistakes, by the way, but they say things. And sometimes also the fact that I'm unscripted in many of my videos, I expect people to sometimes, if they want to, if they are, I expect the media to, if media gets, bigger, they're going to look at all the words I said and everything I've ever done, and they'll find ways to sort of distort that narrative. As I mentioned in my bravery video, it's distortion, deterrence, and all those words, right, that represent basically distorting the current narrative, just changing the basis of intention. And right now I'm telling you my intention. It's quite simple, actually. It's just I want love, I want family, I want friends, and I just want to live my life. And that's pretty much it. And that's what I also have standing for NITA, sure. Not that I'm pushing on other people, but I mean, isn't that what we all want at the end of the day? Isn't that something we all want? I mean, I want it because, well, if everybody has it, and then this world is a beautiful place. They see their destiny, not just me. They have families, not just me. They are connected, and they have all this sudden creativity and inspiration, and they heal their life. And again, it's not about me. And like, this is about taking the time, sacrificing my time, if you will, being brave, as I mentioned, and seeking out to do the best that you actively believe is the best. And then looking at from the objective point of view, because a lot of people don't think there is such thing as an objective truth, I highly recommend looking into Mark Passio. You can see that, well, what we do in our actions, which are also determined by our belief system, is something that will create our reality around us. So yes, it's personal transformation, meaning it doesn't really matter actually what I say. And I even stress that I'm not the movement. So if people do complain about what I say, well, the movement's not about me, and it shouldn't be. And I'm human. And nature's the answer is to say that, yes, I'm human. So therefore, it only reinforces my argument by the very nature of the movement itself, that controversy is actually necessary. And you can look up many quotes about this online as well. I don't know if I cover this in my second documentary. I think, I talk about controversy a bit because there were many influential people of the past, and there still is nowadays. But a lot of them also just want to get people questioning. Now, maybe sometimes they take it to extremes where they shouldn't, and that's understandable. We should always be open to conversation. Like, that person that made the controversial statement should be open to addressing why they said what they said, and perhaps the underlying intentions behind it, like I am right here, right now. But it happens, okay? You understand it happens. And even if, let's say, any fault happens down the line with anybody, it's fine. Taking the bravery, going out of your way to promote what you believe is right, even if you do something wrong along the way, as long as you're not intentionally doing wrong, you make a mistake, that's fine. You can fix it. Just understand and embrace the fact that, those faults can make you a better person if you just seek to learn from it, right? Not just understanding others, but understanding yourself. And in fact, I encourage you to understand yourself before you even talk to others. It's important that we learn ourselves and teach ourselves before we start teaching others. Sort of the speak where you find yourself and you think before you act, if you will, another way of putting it. But that also plays into the golden rule, the karmic law, the natural law, quite well. Thinking before you're doing and knowing the consequences to your actions. You know that if you're going to fall off a cliff, if there's a cliff right in front of you, you know that you're going to fall off the cliff, right? So that's just something to be aware of, right? It's awareness, it's presence, it's many things. And could food waking you up more? Perhaps. I put those ideas out there so you can experiment for yourself. Not that you should take them entirely true, or anything that I say within NITA. I don't claim that that's entirely true, but it's my speculation of it. I try to make it clear that it's from me. Like the third part of the documentary, I say it's from Cory perspective, right? And you have to understand that, most of all things said anyways is an opinion. And looking at the natural law, we're trying to really look at what's the objective fact. And I don't expect people to watch my documentaries. I don't expect people to know the natural law, but more people will, and more people will look into it, especially if they want to do better for the world. And when people realize that that's actually what founded a lot of the documents and philosophies and ancient traditions of the world and religion and all things, then they start to see, well, no wonder why it's called occultic knowledge, because it's hidden knowledge that if we had that knowledge, we would be amazing enlightened humans who can lead ourselves and know what would happen, right? So again, consequences to our actions. Now, I talk a lot about this phenomena and in different ways. Some people, right, they're in the health field. I'm one of those people. Another person might be in a different field, a different profession, and so maybe you want to connect your profession to the movement if you see that of being importance. There's many things you can do, and I'm willing to speculate and help you speculate upon what exactly you can do and within your own environment. So I'm open to your ideas and perhaps what you'd like to do. And so I'd understand also, like, about this idea of bravery, that certain people may not want to create such a presence, with this NITA movement, because they fear, and we know that fear is limiting, and it's the most limiting factor, and that's what government feeds off of. But people fear, like actually fear with their families and really close things to them, that they'll lose that just because of their beliefs. And that's a complicated situation. It's something that, you will have to fix. So maybe don't support NITA right away. Don't. If it's going to compromise your life and twist things on its head, trust your gut, trust your judgment. But keep NITA in mind, and there's a time and place for everything. There might be somebody who you come across and you just want to tell them personally, this is something that I came across, might be interesting to you. And it's just about getting the word about, whether it be knowledge, education, or simple understandings from which all that derives into. So, and in this language I use, sometimes poetic, sometimes confusing, I understand that could set people different ways too. So just understand, I'm human, and you are too, and it's fine to have the beliefs that you have them for a reason, and if you feel any setbacks, speak about them, to people who you trust, talk openly about this to, again, people who are close to you, and build connections with what you have in real life. You don't want to have also this division where you're playing this two-face, where you're somebody different on the internet and somebody different in real life. You want to be your best self, and you want to express yourself, and you want to essentially be you, right? And how do you find that, right? Well, having all those aspects would help if they all were in alignment to helping you become you. So it's addressing everything. If health means whole, as I've stressed in my health videos, as I'm starting to go a little bit away from that, but trust me, it's still there, and it always will be, and I always do that, no matter what I'm talking about, is resort things back to health. But like I said, you can do the same, and I think that, if you bring all the minds and hearts of people together, I'm just one person who came up with a lot of this stuff, but Imagine what we can do with many, many people who are inspired, who are motivated, who see that there's change that can be done right now, right here, with the answers that are already present. There's so much that we can do if we just set our minds to it. And if we realize how powerful our minds are, and we realize how powerful humans are, and how they're so purposefully here, to the many different degrees, where we're not too left brain dominant and thinking that science has to prove everything, or that science knows everything, or that we do know everything and that there's nothing to be discovered and that there's nothing unknown. It's perfectly fine to have this sense of adventure, this sense of journey. And I think that also inspires people. So there's many things that can inspire people. And shall you want to take it as a journey to help inspire yourself more? What will inspire you? That's a question I asked in the bravery video. Ask yourself questions. Evaluate your life. Look at different aspects of your life. Look at the exercise, the creativity, the joy, the home life, the social life, all of it, everything. Try to narrow it down. Journal if you must, if that's what's going to help you. Many people have done that to help reflect. It's not just meditation, it's not just deep breathing, but those things can help. Again, looking at you as an individual, what's going to help you? And I see often when I talk about NITA with people too, is they often resort it back to them because they see that there's certain imperfections and certain improvements that they can make within their own life. Or they see that looking so deep into the world around them, they also want to look deep inside themselves, because that's important first, and they realize it is, and they see that it's of greater importance, which is why it comes to them time and time again. There's this sort of attraction at hand. So it's something that if you are in that that zone, right, like maybe call it the zone diet, it's perfectly fine, again, to have whatever beliefs you have. And it's just understanding and seeking to understand and seeking to do better that's going to get you to where you want to be. It's first setting your mind there and then taking action steps one at a time, practical action steps, okay? Not looking toward the end result, but, enjoying the progression, the journey. And that's why NITA never ends. It doesn't have an end goal. It doesn't seek to do this or seek to do that. It just seeks us being us, something we can do at any time, all the time, anywhere, everywhere. And that's why I'm willing to talk with anyone, everyone, about anything and everything. So this is the message that is quite blatantly simple. Nature's the answer. And I've talked to many people. I like to talk with people in person. So if anybody sees this and they want to, create a conversation in any which way, I'm always willing to open it. Have we reached the point of desperation? Is there going to be some crazy chaos in the world? I can't be entirely sure, but I do think things are not going so well, and I think a lot of people can just agree with that, perhaps. And if so, then we should probably take action steps to prevent anything from getting worse. Yes, prevention, not just treatment, something that's bizarre in the medical empire in modern medicine. And I often talk about medicine too, because perhaps we can relate to it more, being that medical expenses and all these diseases are rampant and everywhere, and everybody has family members dealing with it. Health is something that, if you were to ask me, like, is that the core of NITA? Well, I say, bringing people to freedom is essentially healing them. And again, I detail this heavily in my book and in my writings. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. But it's important to understand, right? And I could descend right there. It's important to understand that health and freedom and all these things that we call quote-unquote things, there's always deeper details. There's also looking at the individual and not just making preconceived notions of it. So this is work, internal work for ourselves, indeed. But you can have help from others, and they don't have to tell you what to do. They can lead you, in the right direction. And that's the job of a health coach, but it's also the job of any human being who simply understands a greater picture that, well, they actually shouldn't tell you what to do, because that would be wrong. That could be dangerous. They should actually lead you in the right direction, because, well, if you're in the right direction, you can probably lead yourself. You know yourself the best. So the same thing goes with your environment. Sorry, screen. Same thing goes with your environment, with NITA. So let's say, you were questioning, well, should I do this? Should I do that? And how will I do it? It's about assessing your own environment. I don't live in your environment. I don't know what's happening. Maybe we should talk about that. I don't know. But that would probably help others talking about it. Or sharing your experience, which I encourage people to do, is share, okay, well, how did you do it? How did you share the messages and mission? So, okay, I don't want to keep this too long, but I hope you enjoyed this little talk I had. And yeah, so my name is Cory Angelots. Probably know that, but nature is the answer. Thank you, and goodbye. Take care.